Hi everyone, it's Veronica Bartolini here on Codebreaker, and today we have a special guest, Kimberly Murphy. Welcome, Kimberly.
Hi, it's great to be on your show. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And we also have participants that will be asking questions during this show. We have Jax, and we have Susan, and they're going to be also helping me to keep on track because we have a lot to cover in this hour. So Kimberly, I first reached out to you. Want to dive in? We're going to dive into this CIA, what I call CIA love bites.
Yes. Okay.
It's a tough subject.
Yes. I have to start off that I'll say that I'm married. I've been married for I think 17 years. But when I had my breakdown last year with getting all these memories back and getting all these here, I'm in a video, sorry, that was my daughter, getting all these memories back, and I had kind of a slight mental breakdown, and unfortunately my sex kitten alter happened to manifest first, and I was having a little bit of a rough time in my marriage, like anybody does. And so I met this, I was meeting people online. I did the interview with James. I really wanted to do these interviews and get my kind of story out there because I thought it was important about the timelines. And so anyway, when I did these interviews with James Rink, I had left my email so people could contact me. And so this guy named Joseph Clark, I'm going to say his name, he contacted me through email, and he was very, very friendly. He assured me that he was like the same religion I was. And he said, one of the first things he talked about was he said that I needed healing, and he was going to offer me free healing services because he knew how to do the black cube healing and all this advanced stuff, and he knew a lot about MK Ultra. And so we talked a lot on Zoom, and I'm usually very good at reading people, and he seemed very trustworthy. And so we did several sessions on Zoom where he did the remote healing. We did a black cube healing where I went into the 13 by 13 cube altars, and he had me basically kill off some of my bad ones and collect several artifacts that I had. So he was kind of like gathering information through that. One of the things he had gathered was that I had access to the black sphere, which is like a crystal ball, but it's black. And it was like, I'll get into that more. But anyway, so we did these healing sessions on Zoom. He was very friendly. We talked about our lives, and he actually has 5 kids, but only custody of 2. So, and he was talking about he wanted to make an X-Men school, which that's always the thing I want to do, like a school for gifted children with abilities and very intelligent. So that's one thing I'd like to do in the future. And so we starting to kind of develop a relationship, like just kind of a friend thing. He didn't really come across as like flirting, really, just very like wanted to be your best friend, basically. Like you want to trust him. That's what it came across as. So he wanted me to come visit him, and I was a little iffy about it. But he said we had to do these missions to save the world, and it had to do with the zombie frequency and like the alien invasion coming. And I said, well, I don't know, I'm really busy with my life. So he manipulated me because I was really unsure about going to see him. So he said, we have to do it. We have to see each other this weekend so I can finish your healing in person because Zoom wasn't good enough. And then do these different magical, I guess a cross between magic and prayer, that we were going to stop these different timelines. And I was really into that because I see like really bad timelines coming up on us. So I went to go see him. the first weekend, and it got pretty crazy. We were taken by other beings at night. It was like the thing where you were strapped on a table and you couldn't move your arms and legs, and we like actually like went somewhere. It was the freakiest thing. And I was like remote viewing like these beings, like they weren't doing surgery on us. They were connecting us to other altars and like some other altars. And then the next day, we went to this park because we were going to leave the Matrix. And that between both of us with our, because he was very psychic, so he did have like occult powers and stuff. We actually saw a UFO at the park. It was landing. I'm for real. I wish I had my camera. It was like popping in and out, like it would shift. And the UFO ship was landing, and we were going to get on it and get out of this current matrix because it was like going to go really badly. So we were going to leave reality and then come back and then start saving people that we thought were worth saving. And so anyway, so every time the UFO ship would come start landing at the park, all these military drones, like $1 million, I've never seen these kind of drones before. They were flying around the park and like this high level aircraft. And they were hitting us with like radiation weapons. And I thought I was going to die because like I was starting, like my heart was hurting. So this UFO ship could not land with this other military technology because the military technology didn't want it to land. So we never got to go on the UFO ship, even though we saw it, it couldn't land. And oh, yeah, sorry, did you have a question?
Yes, Kimberly, what kind of UFO alien?
Oh, yes. Yeah, it was a gray circular craft.
Mm.
So anyway, we couldn't get on the ship to leave the Matrix because they had all this like super high tech military stuff with the drones and the aircraft. And there was actually a high level agent at the park. And when we were leaving, he tried to follow us, but like he couldn't follow us. So anyway, so after that, like I was disappointed, like we didn't finish the mission of leaving the Matrix. So I left to go back home to Missouri, and that whole week.
Sorry. Before we get into that, how many missions did he have you on, and did he give you any drugs with you knowing or unknowing, or
yeah,
or what happened in this part before you went back and did other things?
Well, before I went down, he asked me if I wanted to do ayahuasca, and I said, well, no, I don't want to do any hallucinogenics because I'm really imaginary anyway. So I told him I did not want to do any kind of drugs. But I noticed when I went down there, he was giving me bottles of water that were already opened. So especially the second time when I went down to see him, because I went down to see him twice, he was giving me, I believe it was ayahuasca. It was some hallucinogenic. And because it made me like really disoriented because like I didn't want to get away from him. So like the first time I went down to see him, and then I left because we couldn't get on the UFO ship. And I said, well, I had to get back home to like my family and everything. So that entire week he was Zoom calling me and doing this weird MK Ultra stuff with code words like red velvet and red flowers and all this weird stuff. And it was like some of these words were like triggering me. And he was saying all these like different code words on these Zoom calls, and it totally manipulated my mind. So then he's like, oh, we have to meet again. Because I said, well, I'm really busy. So he had me come down the next weekend. He's like, we have to finish this mission or the entire world is going to basically be the apocalypse. And then he wanted me to bring my daughter too, which I didn't want to. So I didn't end up bringing her because like that was too weird for me. But so when I went to see him the second time, that was when things went really bad. So when I first got there to see him when I got to see him the second time, the first thing he says in the door, he's like, you need an exorcism. I'm like, what? He's like, you have a high level demon in you. So he was trying to do all these exorcisms on me because he said like I was evil. And then he was doing all this stuff with like salt on the floor and like making these designs. And he was having me do like this high level, like I don't really do magic. That's like not my religion. So I don't know a lot about it. But he was having me do all this weird stuff, like fighting the moon base. And he said he was the dragon and we had to fight all these other dragons. And like he was he was asking me questions and then he was having me channel the answers. And then he was doing like this high level magic with like with salt and ketchup on the floor with all these weird designs. Go ahead.
That's freaking crazy. I'm so sorry that you had to go through this. And how many we talked before, remember? Did he turn into any, how many people did he shape?
Yeah, I'll get into that. So when we were doing all this like magic stuff and he said he had to fight all the other dragon beings because he had to be the last remaining dragon. Then he said, then all of a sudden, well, because I said that I had to get back I could only stay the weekend. And then when I said that, he said, oh, Phoenix is getting nuked right now. Like, nuclear bomb. I'm like, what? And I think he gave me like a big dosage of ayahuasca because I swear I thought it was getting nuked. Like I felt radiation on my body and I was like, my heart started to like palpitate. And I thought he was serious. Then I'm like, oh no, we have to get out of here. And he was dragging me out the door. And I said, well, I got to get my phone and my clothes. And he said, no, we have to leave your phone here. And I said, no, I have to have my phone and call people. Otherwise, they'll be worried about me. So he was pretty much dragging me out the door with his two kids that were only 5 and 6. And I couldn't find my phone. And like I had to leave like a bunch of my clothes and stuff there. And then so that's when we went on this insane road trip, like from one of those crazy movies. It was just completely insane. So like basically he told me Phoenix was getting nuked, so we had to get out of Phoenix. Because I said, well, I had to fly back, but then I was scared that it was like the ayahuasca was kicking in, so I was starting to freaking hallucinate, and I saw like the moon like disintegrate. I've never taken hallucinogenics before, but it was crazy because like everything he would suggest, I would actually see. He's like, look at the moon over there. And I pretty much saw it completely disintegrate and it got rebuilt. But it was like the ayahuasca stuff. And then so the whole time in the road trip, he's like, we got to get to Florida because we got to get to Tampa and find the 11 time travelers. So he wanted to find 11 time travelers, get us to Tampa, Florida. And later I found out there's a major military base there. And he was trying to, yeah, go ahead.
Before you get into that, I'm a time traveler. I'm Andromeda in 1800. Are you a time traveler? And how did you find out you were a time traveler? Tell everybody about what do we do, changing the timelines, etc.
Oh, yeah. So I found out because like when I did my first interview with James, I told him all the stuff that was going to happen before it happened. And that's why it got taken off of YouTube. And it's all the stuff that's happening now, with the I'll call them the jabs and all this stuff and the people that are going to die off. So it's like, it's weird. I've seen this. I know so much because I've seen this before. I know exactly what's going to happen and I'm trying so hard to change it. And that's why originally why I wanted to go with Joseph is because he was also very psychic and we were going to change this together. But then he got completely mad. Oh, and this is why he started to do this personality shift because like the original Joseph Clark was very nice. And so he did this personality shift. So one of the things when we had left to go on this road trip, he would stop. But we were staying at hotels. He would stop like during the day when we were traveling. And one of the main things he was wanting me to do was to channel these really high level demons. And normally I would never do that. Like that's kind of a no-no for me. but I was like really high on like hallucinogenics. And then he would make these like demon rings, and he's like, who am I talking to? And he was like pulling it out of me. And then so I would just like start channeling what entity it was, and they were really high level ones. And then what he was doing is he was either sending them to like these weird hell things, or he was eating them. And I told him, you know, you don't want to eat that type of energy because it's going to affect you negatively. And I told him not to eat these demons, that he was like basically making a portal and like having me channel them. So he was like getting their energy. And he said, no, he had to eat and absorb some of them because he wanted to balance the universe. And he wanted to be the last remaining dragon so he could balance the universe. And after he started like eating these, like, it sounds so weird. After he started absorbing these demons, he had a freaking personality shift. I could like, oh my gosh, it started to get really scary. Because then he wasn't letting me use the bathroom. Like he wouldn't even stop at a gas station. And he like would, then I could only like pee on the side of the road because he didn't want me to call anybody. Hold on one second. Hey, Katrina, can you please watch the baby? Katrina, please watch the baby. When we were heading to Florida.
Go.
Okay. Yeah, sorry. So about 2 days and 2 or 3 days into the trip, he started to have this personality change that got really scary and controlling because he had absorbed all these, I guess you would call them demonic entities when I told him not to. And so he had his 2 kids in the back, and he wouldn't let us stop to eat. Like we were basically down to 1 meal a day. And I said, well, you know, your kids got to eat more than that, and I do too. Like one day I only ate a granola bar, and I started crying, and I said, I have to eat more than this. And then he said, no, you don't. You're a god. You don't have to eat. And then I started to get like really scared. And then I was trying to leave. And so I wanted to like stop at a gas station so I could use somebody else's phone, because he stole my, I don't know what he did with my phone, and he wouldn't let me use his, and it had a passcode on it. So he wouldn't let me, he wouldn't stop at a gas station. So I had to like go on the side of the road, and he started to get like really controlling. And so yeah, we were only eating 1 meal per day. And every time I thought about getting away when we'd stop at a hotel, like to sleep, but he did that freaking hypnosis thing. He knew how to do hypnosis. So he would snap right before I went. I had to pay for everything because he had no credit card. So to go into the hotel, he would go like this. He would snap over my head and say, oh, get us a hotel room. And I didn't even think about getting away because he was doing some like freaking snapping hypnosis thing. Because he would think, well, yeah, I could call the police at the hotel room. And he did some hypnosis thing where all I thought about is getting the control, getting the room. And so let's see. Yeah, and then there was several strange things where I saw the weather get completely controlled. Oh, sorry, one second. Katrina, take him upstairs. Please take him upstairs. Very important. Yeah, so he was really, he was really into hypnotism, and he was very, very good at it because he was also a telepath. So every time I was thinking in my mind, I just want to get away from him, I was just thinking that he would stop the car and say, get out now. And I looked and see where he was stopping, and it was like the back roads of Arkansas, where I'd have to walk like 20 miles and it was getting dark, or like under a bridge with like, there's no traffic. So I didn't want to get out of the car in the middle of nowhere because who knows else who would pick me up. So he was like reading my mind. And then when it started to get the scariest was the day before I got away. So he had absorbed, like he said, he was 50-50, like balancing the universe, and he was the last remaining dragon. So that night he he got, let's see what else. Oh yes, I forgot to mention one thing. He wanted to go to the Space Center in Alabama, and he said that was like the place where we needed to leave the Matrix and find the portals. The Space Center, Huntsville, Alabama. So we went there and like rushed through, and like he wanted me to find all the clues about how the Matrix is designed, and he wanted me to find where the portals were. And I thought I had actually found it, but then there was all these agents like in the park that were following us, and he got really scared, and he's like, "Oh, we have to leave now." I'm like, yeah, we're not going to be able to leave like in the portals.
But how did you know they were agents? Describe what you saw. Were they vehicles? You know, were they people?
Oh yeah, they were just people walking around the park, and you could tell they weren't human because they had like a different energy. And that was the some of the other weird things that had happened on the trip. There was a lot of agents following us, and they would actually give him psychic attacks, and they wouldn't give me psychic attacks, because like I would check into a hotel and he would freak out, and there'd be some agent behind him like attacking him psychically, like whatever psychic psionic stuff, and he'd like went out the door and fought that person, but they were never attacking me. But like almost every hotel that we stopped at, there's agents there, and they would talk to me like they were trying to break me out of this like crap hypnotism stuff, and they were like attacking him, like they were trying to break that. And so then he'd always have me go in the hotel really fast. And there's a couple times when we'd had 2 Chinook helicopters following us, and that was really strange. And like some black tinted sedans and things. And he would always kind of freak out when that happened. And he kept talking about like they were shutting down the facility, because that's another thing I'll get into about Antarctica. He was connected to the quantum computer system as a clone in Antarctica, because he was always doing this thing where he was like typing a computer system on like his car when he was driving. And I said, well, what are you doing? And he said, I'm like decoding it. Or it was basically somehow we were both tied to the quantum computer. Both of our clones are in Antarctica. So it was like really high level. So the night before I got away, he started to have a complete personality shift, because he could shift between the navigator, which was just kind of like a being that knew which direction to go, or he could shift into the dragon, which was super controlling. And then he also started to shift into something else that I'm not sure, but then he's like, that's not the right person. And then he'd start going the wrong way. And that one was weird. But anyway, so the dragon, the last night before I got away, he got really upset at me because I couldn't leave the Matrix at the Huntsville Space Center. And like I was going to go to sleep, and he started choking me, and I started to freak out. And it wasn't like he was killing me or wanted to kill me. It's just like kind of a scary thing, like a control thing. And he told me that he wanted to sell me to Jabba the Hutt, which was like a bounty hunter, and he was going to get a lot of money for me. So I wasn't sure if that was like an Illuminati thing, because he kept going on about the Queen of England and like how I was one of the people that was like the bloodlines and like goddess stuff. I'm like, what? I have no idea what he was talking about. But anyway, so when he started to choke me and say that that he wanted to sell me to Jabba the Hutt, I knew I had to get away. And even though I was completely drugged on ayahuasca, because I was like, woo, I didn't know what was going on. When he choked me, that like broke through my programming. So I snuck away when he was sleeping. And his 2 kids were also sleeping in the room. I went downstairs. I was so out of it, like I could barely walk. And I went up to like some stranger and I asked if I could borrow their phone. And that's when I called this one guy that Joseph said that he was dead, because he was trying to tell me all these people had already died. And that's the guy that starts with the X, because I wanted to call him and see if that was actually true, because I had no idea, because I completely lost track of time, because he said we were like really far into the future, and like I had no watch or anything. So I guess to make a long story short, I was able to get a hold of my husband, and he came and rescued me. And I had to stay at the hospital, even though I told them I didn't want to go to the hospital. And they took a ton of blood out of me. And there was like some alien being that basically took like 6 vials of blood out of me. And they gave me something at the hospital that made me super dizzy. And I later got my medical report from the hospital, and the lab person that took out all that blood, which I didn't even want like blood taken out, the name was Background Demon, and it was not a human person. So they were like harvesting me for blood at the hospital. And who knows what else happened, because I was like really dizzy.
That's crazy, because when I'll tell everybody a little bit, when James said, hey, they found Kimberly, they're probably going to have to put her in a psych ward. And I'm like, what? Because do you want me to real quick just say?
Sure.
Okay, because we have to go to this John person. So I received a phone call. First, it was James Rink, but I couldn't answer. I was driving on my way to the gym. I get there, and then John calls me. And he says, Kimberly Murphy was supposed to come see me in Louisiana, but when she was at the airport in Arizona, she got, she was lost. She got, I didn't know what happened after that, he said. Can you please, he was like really upset. Can you please put it out on your YouTube channel and all social media that she's missing? And back then I hadn't talked to you. I mean, I knew you were a super soldier as well, but I hadn't talked to you. So I went ahead and saw the picture of your Facebook. And when I saw the picture of you and your husband, he rang out Illuminati Mason. I didn't know you guys like here in this 3D world yet. Now, real quick, this John person did admit to being a Mason. He was on my video. He wanted me to, on my interview, he wanted me to interview him because he's running for the Gold Party. I interviewed him. He hit on me. He wanted me to go visit him to Louisiana. He didn't offer to pay. He said, I feel attracted to you. You're hot and sexy. Let's get together. And I said, I'm not going. He's also hit on somebody else. And we do have some text messages, okay, that we spoke about this before the recording. And I'm not going to say her name, not right now. But she asked Zan on July 3rd, it was a Saturday at 6:50 p.m. PST time, PST, what happened to Miss Kimberly? Was she found? And John answered at 3:54 hours in the morning, the 4th of July, saying to this person, Kim ran away to a secret cult. There were some emails that were hacked by her sister, supposedly. Now, this is just crazy because I remote viewed you in Paraguay. So when you said that this Joseph Clark guy wanted to sell you to Jabba the Hutt, which is, it sounds hilarious to me, but because of Jabba the Hutt, but that the rings do exist. I know that there's something going on right now with Zan John, Joseph Powell, Joseph Clark.
Yeah, one thing I was going to mention, I had looked this up. One of the Joint Chiefs of Staff is Vernon Clark. It's spelled exactly the same, who's like in charge of the naval operations. Joseph Clark had told me Joseph Clark was former Air Force. But he said that it was either his dad or uncle was very high in the military. And so I looked that up this week, and that's one of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. I believe it's his relative, and I've actually seen this guy in my dreams. And that's part of the thing about the Tampa, Florida. They're trying to get all of us in one location. Because Anne was always wanting me to go on trips to Florida, to Tampa, Florida. Why is it always Tampa, Florida? Because there is a military base there with Walter Kruger. I believe it's the MacDill Air Force Base in Tampa, Florida. So all of them are wanting all 11 of us to go to Tampa, Florida to get in one location. So what, so they can capture us? I find that very interesting.
Wait, who else is in Florida? Michael Jaco's in Florida, and I've already talked about him. I don't want to even talk about him right now, but he's still working for the CIA. And I know that there's a connection, because when I was in March, when I was in the conference, I couldn't even talk to him. I only talked to him for like 2 minutes tops, and then he's like, "Oh, this is my wife." And then Joseph, what's his name? Campbell. Campbell is Michael Jaco's handler. Took him away so that we wouldn't even talk to him, but his whole thing was for him to out, meaning to show Jay Campbell and the public and the CIA who were the real super soldiers, meaning Susan was there, right, Susan? Frank was there, I was there, James was there. And since then, there's just all kinds of stuff that I can go into, but let's go into the, because I was also targeted right after that. But anyway, I don't want to go into that right now. I'll do my own little video later, or we can do another show. But let's go into Antarctica, because I know my clone, my original body is there. This clone here that we have here, that's clone. The original body is under Antarctica. Mine, yours, and this Clark guy.
Yes, I've been getting a lot of information and dreams about that. And Joseph Clark, I know one of his clones is in Antarctica, and that's why he kept doing like the little computer thing. Are you still there? Yeah, so, oh, Veronica, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here. I have to get up and get some water, but yeah, I'm tied to that Antarctica computer too, and it's by an need. And I don't need to do this. I just close my eyes and I go there. I don't need to do all this extra. You know, it seems like these handlers want to do the extra, you know, they use psychology on us. It's like,
yeah, but basically he's one of his clones is in Antarctica, and one of my clones is in Antarctica, and this has to do with the coming war with the timelines. Let's see, I wrote down a couple notes so I wouldn't forget. Okay, so they got this big quantum computer down there that's super high technology, and they're using a lot of people with psychic abilities. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Transcendence, where the guy goes into the computer and like he basically possesses the computer. Well, that's what they're having people do. These high-level psychics are doing this hive mind where they can actually throw their consciousnesses into these computer systems. And that's why I go on about my Facebook about God versus robots, because that's basically what it is. And also they have these clone soldiers in tanks, like, or I guess you would say our original bodies, and they're wanting to resurrect ancient gods. And so basically it's like this coming war between gods versus robots. I know that sounds totally weird.
I saw the same thing, and I did a regression for James and me and us, and it's on the Rumble if you want to look at that one. I totally talked about that. Yes, I did see the other soldier beings, and they used our 99. What I discovered was a 99 when all this shit was happening, excuse my language. The 99, okay, they used the red line, the green line, our DNA, to give these extra powers to these freaking clones that they have under Antarctica. They want us, especially the Hulks, to come out for the zombie apocalypse that they want to do. And that's why I was tweaking the timelines myself while I was looping.
Yeah, I do see, yes, I do see a horrible thing happening with it. It's a frequency weapon that they hit all over the world, and these people just like zombie out. And like, I know that I have to like basically integrate myself, self-heal myself, because I know that there's this coming war with this frequency. And it's also a ley line war too. And there's also, I could get into like the black cubes, and I see this coming battle with the Nachtwaffen ships, and like it's this huge battle that's going to happen in Antarctica, and I've seen it like many times. Like I keep seeing it like in a time loop, and it's like I'm trying to make the best scenario, but it's like most of the people are not waking up, and they're just doing whatever they're told. And one thing that's very important, which I think Joseph Clark was, because he did go into about the triple goddess, and I don't really know too much about that, but one thing that they're wanting to do, I just got this from like visions at night, that the cyborg army, they're wanting to power it with a dark goddess to power the robot army, because such a powerful like psychic force can basically control these robots, like make them alive. And it also has, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, the triple goddess is what, when you told me the other day what we were talking, I totally saw the three-headed dog. So every time I try and finish Underworld, Resident Evil, the first one, I mean, the first Resident Evil, I get so triggered by them freaking dogs. And so, yes, they're trying, yes, there is a female, the female entity that they're trying to put into that. Now, in March of 2020, that's when I saw the AI on top of this thing here, the C word, right? The Carones.
Yeah.
And what they're doing is with the 5G towers and 6G towers and all that, through Agenda 2020 through 2036, when the shit's gonna hit the fan, what I saw. But little by little, like little paper cuts, they're gonna be throwing out stuff to peak it to 2036. Now it could be 2026, okay? Because I also saw that timeline. But like you, I'm trying to tweak it and all that. And yeah, so they're trying to get us super soldiers, the real ones, not the fake, to go against the clones that are going to be awakened. Why? How? Because the people that they're shooting up with this shit, they're going to die. But before they die, they're going to power these beings up with their battery. People don't see that. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's basically, if you could sum it down, it's basically God versus robots. And like these original super soldiers, I believe it used to be more than 11, but a lot of us like couldn't get our memories back, got on hard drugs or whatever. But these 11 people, and Joseph kept talking about this all the time, the 11 time travelers. And I didn't get my memories back when I was with him. But yeah, basically I've seen, it also has to tie into the CERN collider, where I've seen like like these bat demon looking things coming through the CERN collider. And that's one of the reasons why they want me to still stay in the quantum system, is because I can help fight off these bad entities, like basically the apocalypse.
There's a CERN portal that I keep talking about, and nobody seems to be like, what do you mean? Yeah, Elon Musk, Texas,
yeah,
CERN is right there underneath, baby. One of the places. Go ahead.
And I just find it interesting that a lot of us women are getting targeted, because it's like we're needed for like the divine feminine power. And then if these people are sent to us to break us down, to make us feel like shit, and then we have these breakdowns, and then we can't do our missions.
And you're exactly correct. And also men. So Who knows? Jake might be a time traveler. Zender, I'm gonna have Mr. Zender on Friday. I know that I'm a time traveler. Max Spears was a time traveler, and so are you. And I took over Max Spears's, lineage, or not lineage, well, line. Anyway, there's a war between us super soldiers, unfortunately. Michael Jaco is with James Casbolt and AKA Archangel Michael. I don't like Archangel Michael. I don't deal with him. So there's a huge division going on. So right now is the time to take sides. What are you gonna do? The dark.
And then the tricky thing. Yeah, the tricky thing. Yeah, I was gonna say the tricky thing is some of us like are double agents. Like I actually had a double agent in the quantum computer system.
Triple agents, me. Unfortunately.
Yeah, so I was actually fighting myself in the quantum computer, and like I actually had like a brain freeze. This is so weird.
Yeah, so they are targeting us, and men too, like I said. Jake, do you want to ask questions, or do you want to say something about perhaps what happened to you too? Because it happens to men too.
Yeah, in my case, I keep a really small circle, and this individual came in out of nowhere, like I said, saying all the right things, and enough to, it was almost like this, I need help, you know guns, so let's help me pick out an AR-15 because of all this craziness, and Joe Biden might be president. Will you help me buy a gun? And I was like, oh, defenseless woman, of course I'll help you get armed, of course. And so, take her out, get her a gun, help her get a gun, point her in the right direction, take her out shooting a couple times. And then she made an effort to start connecting with my family. And I think I realized later what triggered my family was whatever she was behind the scenes telling them. And she just gave them all these bad ideas that I was I don't know what they thought, but they were trying to cut me off hardcore, throw me in a dark hole and make sure nobody talked to me. It was really weird. And to get that from your own family is like something you never expected. And it all started from this one individual who, if I really was to judge them, yeah, they're susceptible, probably somebody that could eventually be pushed or nudged into getting the shot. Same maybe with my family. So I'm like, well, if everything is right now, maybe all these NPCs that are showing up are people that are willing to get the jabberdo or whatever you want to call it, and then and then it's reverse, goes backwards in time, that they're controllable before they've even gotten the shot, because the individuals that came at me, I don't think they had gotten it yet, but maybe by now. I certainly wouldn't be surprised. And so all these people that are starting to act weird in my reality anyway, I'm like, yeah, you're the type that probably would get it, and you probably are by now. So man, that's kind of what I've started to piece together. But then it's my universe, so over here. So yeah, everyone's experience is valid, and we all seem to have overlapping experiences now. So interesting to follow it.
Very interesting. Thank you, Jake. Go ahead, Kim.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, it's a big thing with artificial intelligence and the black goo. If you've seen some movies like The Venom or things like that, where like this black goo basically overtakes your body. Well, that's basically what's happening now. And like you go out shopping, and like more than half the people like are completely brain dead. And I've actually seen people get activated against me, like they're like a computer program. I would call it technological possession, where like their mind, you can see their mind is like completely blank. And so if that happens, and what I did is I screamed in their mind, stop, and they quit following me, because they were basically following me all around the store, and like it wasn't right. So you can actually overtake their computer program if they're sent against you. So basically, when we have to integrate our alters and heal ourselves, it's because we're basically going to have to fight off this zombie apocalypse of all these people getting like frequencied out, and their mind goes blank, and they're like just controlled like little robots. So that's like, we can actually have the ability to like mind control them back. So if they're starting to attack us, we can like shut them down.
I definitely noticed that with everyone I could push away, except when they finally used my family, I think, as a last resort. Because when I could tell agents were coming in hot, they were following. I was in the vans everywhere. I was like, okay, I'll troll you guys. I'm gonna talk back to you. I assume you hear me. And a lot of times I had my little girl with me. I'm like, come on, let's go get them. Let's go get the agents. Come on, baby, let's go get the agents. And I could literally, a couple of them made eye contact with me, and I gave them that stare, like, come on, you want to take me? Let's do this. Let's go. I got questions for you too. Let's go. Not one of them ultimately stopped me. They all turned their tail and run. It's almost like I saw their face morph into into a normal, from an agent into like, oh, normal average Joe driving his camper. Like I made them vanish because my personality was stronger than theirs. I felt like they were actually, I don't know why, but I felt like they were scared of me for some reason. So I just kept going with that. And I felt like my little girl was part of that, and ultimately why I was separated from her temporarily. I think I was beaming or vibing off of something. She was like an antenna, and I was intentionally cut off from that. It's all part of my story, but yeah, that's the short version.
Thank you, Jake. Yeah, it totally, now you're seeing the picture, right? It makes sense why they use your family at the last
Yep.
resort. Yeah, they use my family all the time. I'm like, you can't, you know?
Yeah, they try to say that you're crazy, but what's crazy is all these people doing as they're told without any thoughts. It's like they don't look at the Georgia Guidestones and see what's on the books. And they actually didn't want me, or the quantum system didn't want me to do the interview with you today because I actually got taken in a white government van. It wasn't my physical body, but it was the weirdest thing. I haven't experienced this. It usually happens at night, but I was going about my day and I got really dizzy, and it was a frequency thing, and I was trying to block it out. And then I like kind of went like that. I blanked out for about 3 or 4 seconds. I saw myself like in a mirror, and then all of a sudden I was there, but I was also in a white van, like part of my consciousness or other alter was there. They were screaming at me, electrocuting me, and torturing me and saying, "What do you know?" And they proceeded to torture me for like several hours. And I was actually feeling it in this physical body, like not as much as it would be, but I was actually like psychically feeling that. And they were really interrogating me hardcore yesterday because they don't want me to tell you this stuff about Antarctica. Like they don't want this information out because yeah, it's basically like I'm saying robots versus gods, and like
yeah, you know what, Kimberly, another thing that they'll do, and Brad Olson, I interviewed Brad Olson after after the conference, and he actually had me remote view while I was on my interview with him. I was interviewing him. He was asking me all kinds of questions about Antarctica, and he wanted me to remote view this and remote view that, and I'm like, wow. And back in the day when Penny and I were still talking, she said, yeah, he had me do the same thing too. And I just want to go and tell you real quick, you mentioned all these, these choppers, these choppers that were with you guys when you were with that Joseph Clark guy. When I was with Joseph Powell, I counted 29.
whoa.
That they were stars, and no, they were choppers. They would go and then stop. And then stop. And we were outside looking, and he says, look, babe, all these are here. He says, some of them are watching you and some are watching me. And I'm like, well, why do you think they're watching us? To see if we're going to go, do this apocalypse thing, if we're going to go do our mission, he said. And that's just crazy. And ever since, I've always been followed, even as a kid, but now ever since all this, that I actually went to the conference, I'm being followed all the time. And I'm like, I just look at him like, what the F do you want? Like, you can't hurt me. I know who I am and I know who you are. But,
yeah, I actually, I've had, since I did my second interview with James, where I outed 70% of the military was was under control. I've had black helicopters fly so low, I thought they were going to land. I actually saw one almost crash because another I guess, ship on my side. Well, basically they're like cloaked things. This black helicopter was like maneuvering like up and down, like it was not a normal helicopter. And then it almost crashed into this white airplane. So I was seeing like the space battle over my head. And of course I didn't have my phone that day, but even if I did, they lock up my phone. So I can't take a picture of this and prove it.
Yeah, I actually have some pictures too. And I know when it's the good guys, the bad guys, we'll call them, you know, military TR3Bs, if it's the good Draco, the bad Draco, the good Mantis, the bad Gray, whatever. And yeah, anytime I'm outside, like, right away, either a helicopter or I'm talking on the phone to somebody about this stuff, forget about it. But this is what I want to tell you before I do this quick breakdown. Because it didn't work with my family, they tried to target me with my friends that I had interviewed on my channel. This is how the breakdown goes, real quick. Zan John interviewed Joseph Powell. Okay, they're in on something. Okay. Then Penny, she told me that she saw Joseph Powell on Zan's show. So he interviewed her. And then she interviewed Joseph Powell. I saw Joseph Powell. Oh shit, my twin flame. Bullshit. On Penny's show. I interviewed him twice. Then we have writer Lee. I interview him, he interviews me. Then he turns around and interviews Joseph Powell. He says, I hope you don't mind, but I'm like, really? And all my friends are like, what the? Pero all these guys, these people, men, women that you had on your show for interview to get them, you know, to get them to know each other, to get them to connect, they're giving you their back. Even, and then James Ring, I love you, James, you know I do. Then he interviews Joseph Powell again. These guys are siding with each other, okay? And then now they're trying to target Zender, saying that he's crazy. Bullshit. Let me tell you, Zender was also involved with the CIA love bite that they had him on. They had a woman go after him, but we'll talk about that later because I'm going to interview him on Friday. But do you guys see the trend? Question, Bueller?
Oh, yeah, I definitely see things that don't seem like a coincidence.
They want to make sure, how real are you, Veronica? How real are you, Kimberly? How real are you, Jake? How real are you, Susan? Try saying the RR. How real are we, and how bad are we here to do this mission? Are you going to be sidetracked? They can't do it in my dreams anymore. They tried it here. They can't do it anymore. You guys, this video is going to go viral because this is the truth and we're speaking about this. Something has to be done. Kimberly, I see the same timeline about Antarctica. And it's just amazing what they'll try and do to divide us. But the thing of it is we know the truth, right? We got to keep going. What is your message for more of our people that have barely woken up, like say Jake? Well, not barely, because Jake has been on the super soldier path, but he finally found our family, right, Jake? We found ourselves along with others. And
yeah, I did get a channeled message during the day a couple days ago when I was writing my sci-fi. I have to actually write stuff as sci-fi in order to get the memories and the information. So one of the things about this time loop, our chances to resurrect the God sparks. So we have to connect ourselves and remember who to find, gather the broken pieces and reclaim, healing ourselves and others. It is this moment in time to fix the time loop before we are shattered again and AI takes control again.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I am like 20 years of circumstantial evidence that like points heavily toward the program. The one thing that maybe you guys can help me with that I'm missing is I don't have any trauma, no crazy memories, no like memories of being off world or any of that. A lot of crazy and pattern dreams, but not like actual memories. So I
Well,
have all reasons to believe I'm involved, but nothing traumatic necessarily. So
mhm. Well, what they do is I'm high command, and so is Kimberly. Susan and Frank are also their own team. They're the beautiful team. They're always there when you need them. Sorry for snapping. Return to sender with consciousness attached. Okay, so forgot what I was saying. Crap. What was I saying, Jake? Oh yeah. So us that are on in high command, they will erase our memories as much as they can, and they'll keep trying to erase those memories. So it's a very good idea to write things down. And then also, who knows, you might get something traumatic, Jake, or not. I mean, you might have the memories that Susan and I have with the mansions and the red room. I mean, if you look at some of these movies, they will help you trigger your memories. For example, Black Widow, last night I only could watch a little bit of it because I was highly triggered about the red room, about all that crap. So I don't
Oh,
know.
if you watch the movie Infinite that just came out, I tried watching that and I blacked out halfway. Like I wasn't even conscious. I had to watch the movie twice.
That's crazy.
That one is a big trigger.
Speaking of movies, Johnny Depp was one of my handlers along with Morgan Freeman, and he was in my dream the other day. Okay, he was trying to take away something that I had concocted, a recipe, but of course it's a screen memory, kind of like DNA codes. that
he's the main character in Transcendence that goes
yes,
evil and
yes,
uploads himself to the internet. Yeah.
you read my mind. That's what I was going to say too. That's the computerized version. They want us to be in a computer that way they can use us because we are so fucking powerful. Excuse my language, but y'all don't even know. We are 10 times, we can shine 10 times stronger than, brighter than the sun. And the key thing is to unchain your heart, like I talk about, unmask your soul, find out who you are, and be true to yourself. And be aware of these CIA love bites, what I call love bite, and integrate our cultures.
Yeah, I wanted you to write down, Veronica. All of us may have come in contact with this, and she kept saying ayahuasca. I myself have an experiencer of DMT multiple times, and mushrooms, and they're all just different forms of DMT. And people can't lie to you when you're under DMT. So what it might have been, I think, what might have happened to me is scopolamine, I think. It's like a white powder. It's a plant, and no one ever talks about it. But apparently, it can be like blown in your face, and it will make you highly suggestible. Like somebody could tell you to go jump off of a bridge, and you'd fucking do it.
That's real.
They use scopolamine in the programs when they were mind wiping us.
Okay, I thought so.
They did, and then they also thank you, Susan. They also used other things to shoot us up with chemicals so that we could be augmented. Other than the black goo, they gave us that. The truth serum, when they wanted to try and break us, they gave us LSD. They gave us all kinds of shit. Okay, all kinds of crap. Excuse my language. So scopolamine was especially used when we had to fight the battles, when we were mind fracted, especially in the sex kitten altar programs, the mercenary programs, Montauk, Monarch, what else, Susan? All kinds of stuff. I'm sorry, and I know this is triggering. It's triggering to me too. Believe me, I don't know how many times I wanted to pause this video and say, you know what, I need a break because it's triggering. It's hard.
Yeah, I guess that would explain why the last 2 weeks, sometimes I'll just wake up completely dizzy and almost unfunctional, like I was drugged. It's bizarre. I have to have like 2 cups of coffee just to...
Yes, same here. I don't want to do the doom and gloom, okay? We're just here to tell the public this is actually real. The secret space program is real. And it's not this, we're not talking about the Space Force that Donald Trump is trying to do. No, this is okay, even though we may work with them in the future, but this is original stuff from when we were kids, okay? This goes way beyond the 1940s. This crap has already been planned. We've been through different timelines. We're supposed to get this timeline right. Supposedly, Joseph Powell on my interview said that he killed Max Spears, and then Jaco and somebody else was helping out. And I'm like, you guys are saying this on national, like this is global. You guys are, like Joseph saying that he killed Max Spears because he didn't get the timeline right. And then when I was with, because I was very close with Max Spears in the Mars projects and things like that, not often, and then the jump rooms and all that. And so Joseph kept telling me when I was with him physically, when we were together, he kept saying, you were always with Max Spears, you always wanted to be with him, and I didn't like him, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what? I mean, we have to stick to save humanity. So some people are being affected by this black goo still, the bad one, the bad black goo, the bad AI. And yes, you're right, Kimberly, it is about this, I saw an AI DNA above here, above our head in March 2020, above everybody's head, and then I said, I will not give in to fear. I told everybody, I made a video and I said, couldn't sleep that night. I'm like, please, like reject fear. Stop watching the news. Because that's what they want, and so when they're done with that, with them, of course, that's why they, one of my friends, she lives in Canada, Fireball, I forget, I don't know if I can say her full name because I don't have permission right now, but she was sending people, through Facebook and stuff, like the big old tankers that are coming with basically the body bags and the tanks to place everybody in. But the thing of it is why do they want you up? Why do they want people upside down in the hospitals if they get this crap? Why do they want them upside down? Kundalini rising, they take the power away from them, and then that's why they die. But people are not seeing this. Not only the jab or the test. I don't know, guys. I'm supposed to have surgery and my back surgery, major back surgery. I do not understand how I can still leg press 603 pounds and have a broken back, but it's not, this show's not about me. Jake, thank you for the reminder.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, I'll be praying for you for your surgery, that it goes well. But I'm probably going to have to get going here pretty soon. I do Taekwondo. Was there anything else we needed to talk about? Or?
Anything else, Jake and Susan? I
No,
guess.
this is great.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Same thanks.
Thank you.
Oh, yes, well, thank you, Veronica, very much for having me on. I think we gave the audience a lot of information, and I think a lot of higher ups are not going to be very happy about some of the stuff we talked about.
C'est la vie. Oh, well. So Kimberly, you're on Facebook, right? You got to be careful. we all have to be careful who's contacting us through through our emails and stuff, but how can they get a hold of you to book a session with you, or for you to get some money going there to help with your mission as well? Because how.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'll give out my email address, verycoolmusic@hotmail.com, just like how it sounds. So VERYCOOLMUSIC.
Thank you. And I wish you the best, Kimberly, and I love you. I'm glad.
Oh, thank you.
I'm glad that you are alive.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Thank you for all of your prayers and meditations for me. It helped.
You're welcome, Mama. And thank you, Susan, and thank you, Jake. And see y'all later.
Bye.
Take care.